Foundation makes dreams come true for children with life-threatening medical conditions in order to enrich the human experience with hope, strength, and joy. It is the largest wish-granting organization in the world with 64 chapters in the United States and 36 international affiliates. Joining us today to tell us more about this organization is Ilene Mandell, a Make-A-Wish medical outreach manager, Denise Velasquez, a social worker from the Children's Hospital at Montefiore, and Robert Rivera, who is a young man who saw his wish come true. Welcome to the program. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
Tell me, Ilene, first of all, how did the Make-A-Wish Foundation get started?
It started in 1980 when a young boy in Phoenix, Arizona wanted to be a policeman for the day. Our chapter started, our local chapter, Metro New York chapter, started in 1983 when a young boy was hospitalized. He had a life-threatening medical condition and he wanted to meet Catherine Bach, Daisy from the Dukes of Hazzard. We had 10 volunteers at the time, and 2 volunteers brought her to the hospital, and she spent some time with him in the hospital.
Let's go back to Phoenix. How does, out of that one case, that boy who wanted his wish come true, how is an organization born?
His mom saw the value and the impact that the wish had on him. It gave him a life-affirming attitude. He became very positive, and when she saw the power of the wish, she knew that she had to start the organization, and that's how she started.
And then how did it get to New York?
People saw it on television, and our CEO, our current CEO, Pat Clemency, was one of the original 10 volunteers.
Wow.
And, yes, and today we have over 800 volunteers, and since 1983, our local chapter of Metro New York has granted over 8,500 wishes. That's a wish every 11 hours we grant.
Denise, who can receive a wish?
Children, aged 2.5 up until 18 years old who have a life-threatening illness.
Is it always life-threatening?
Yes.
Because I see a guy here who was a child and got his wish come true, and he's with us.
Yes, life-threatening. There's a misconception, but we offer children with life-threatening medical conditions. So at the time of referral, the child is going through a medical crisis. Of course, the goal is, and we're always hopeful that the child does get well.
And this is a success story right here.
This is a success story.
Robert, let's get to you.
Yes.
Tell us about your case.
Well, when I was 4 years old, I was diagnosed with leukemia, and about 7, I went into remission. So I was traumatized for those 3 years. And while I had amazing support with my family, I needed an outside force to basically let me know there's sort of goodness in the world. Make-A-Wish approached me after I was in remission and asked me about a wish. I was very hesitant in the beginning because I didn't trust anyone. I was very angry, but I said, let me give them a try. I really didn't know about the organization, and my wish was to meet Jenny Garth from the cast of Beverly Hills 90210, because I had the biggest crush.
How old were you then?
By the time the wish, I was about 11 or 12.
Okay.
After everything was processed.
And you had a crush on her?
I had a crush on her. So one of my first crushes, I said, all right, let me test them, see what happens. And that was the wish, and they flew the entire family to California.
Wow.
And we met the entire cast on the set and had a little vacation, you know, as they call it. But for me, the wish was the first time that I had an escape. And it was the first time that my family was happy at the same time. And that was very significant for me because it was a wake-up call. And for a long time, I didn't bounce back. I was very angry. I was very bitter at what happened. And seeing the amazing people at Make-A-Wish in the New York chapter as well as the California chapter opened my eyes that people in this world actually do care, and that they taught me what I went through was very traumatic, but life still is great. Life still moves on. You can still enjoy as well as your family and your friends.
You survived leukemia?
I survived leukemia, yes.
So not every case has to be a terminal case. It's a child who is threatened.
Life-threatening medical condition. There is a misconception, and it's very important that we stress that. Our eligibility requirements are children who are 2.5, not yet 18 at the time of referral, who are diagnosed with a life-threatening medical condition. For our chapter, Metro New York, it's children who live in the 5 boroughs or Nassau County. And lastly, a child who has never had a wish granted from us or any other wish-granting organization.
Are there any other restrictions?
Those are the restrictions.
That's it.
Now, we don't determine the medical eligibility of the child. Someone on the medical team does.
And are there any costs to the family?
Absolutely no cost. We cover every aspect of the cost of the wish.
Your whole trip was financed for you and your family to go to California?
Yes.
And how did you feel, Robert, after it was all over? I mean, did you feel like, okay, there are people out there who do care, or what was, tell me about that.
Well, the wish itself was amazing, like I said before, but after the wish was over, for me it was about Make-A-Wish basically brought a lot of joy, happiness, and hope back into my life. And it put me on the map, back on the map, as I say, and it actually shifted my outlook on life. While the entire process of me, having leukemia and going through that traumatic event shaped my life differently, Make-A-Wish came in and gave me the positive outlook on the entire situation as a whole. And from that point forward, I learned, wow, there are amazing people in this world. Life still moves on. Life is amazing. And I want to do what they do. And with that experience that I had with them, for me, I was able to flip a lot of my anger, a lot of my bitterness and everything from having cancer into a positive. And I said, you know what? They're amazing and they're helping people just like me, and I want to do that too one day.
So you're a volunteer now?
I've been volunteering since I was 12 years old, speaking for them, sharing the power of a wish and how it has impacted myself and my family. And even my field of study, I'm also a social worker working in the field, helping the younger generations, with different types of medical illnesses.
So for you ladies, how is that, the reward that you must get from seeing cases, from listening to him speak? Tell me about that.
Well, what's so important, and as Robert has highlighted, is the power of a wish is before the wish is granted. So the child has something to look forward to. They're going through a lot. Normalcy's taken away. As you mentioned, there's some anger. So this is something so positive to think about. And given the power of using their imagination, saying, wow, what can I think of? I mean, there's 4 categories of a wish. I wish to be, you can choose one. I wish to be a fireman, a newscaster, a model for a day, or you pick one category. I wish to have my room redecorated, or I wish to have a shopping spree. I wish to meet some celebrity, or I wish to go and to travel with the family. So we see the process before the wish, the power of it, and then of course during the wish, and the whole family and the memories are created. And after the wish, as you could see how it is really geared, Robert, in certain life decisions. And so for us, that's so important, is the power stretches so wide.
Denise, tell me about some of the people that you've helped and the feeling that you get from it.
I think one of the things I definitely want to say is that wish, it's the wish grant, or the granting of the wish, is not just an event. It's an absolute process, like Ilene and Robert talking about. And so, for example, I can think of a young girl about to go into a bone marrow transplant, and she really wanted to meet a celebrity. The wish couldn't be granted before her transplant, but it was definitely planned for when she had completed it and was healthy enough to travel. The planning for that event, the thinking about where would they go, when would they go, how would it be like, gave her something normal to talk about. She wasn't talking about chemotherapy or about her cancer. She was talking about everything around this trip. And it's that normalcy. It's the connecting our patients to everyday life.
I imagine when you guys call a celebrity and you say, we're from the Make-A-Wish Foundation and I have a kid who wants to meet you, most people go, fine, let's do it, right?
There is someone
they cooperate?
Yes, most often they do. There is someone specifically in charge of that at the national organization. Not 64 chapters don't call celebrities. It's all done through the national organization. And when we interview a child, we always ask for their first choice wish. And if, for example, it may not be medically appropriate, suppose the child couldn't travel or something, we always ask for a second choice wish. So if they had a celebrity that the scheduling wouldn't work, we always ask for a second choice wish. But people are very happy to do it.
Is there a high demand, a waiting list? How do they get how do they get their wishes come true?
No. Last year, fiscal year 2010, we granted 531 wishes.
We meaning
Make-A-Wish of Metro New York.
in New York alone.
Our chapter, the 5
Wow.
boroughs of Nassau County,
500.
and 31.
Wow. So, and then tell me the range. What kind of wishes are we talking about?
As I mentioned, I wish to be, so we have children who want to be a model for a day. And we work with a photographer, and they get picked up in a limo. Everything at Make-A-Wish is about this limo. And they get made up, and they become a model for the day. And they're made to feel special. They're made to not just discuss everything that goes on in the hospital. This is something that makes them positive. As I like to say, it's that silver lining in that big, ugly cloud that hangs over their head. And it gives the parents something so positive. And they see their child not angry, as I mentioned, and having a smile on their face. And this means the world to them, to the family, and as well to the medical community and the like.
So what is the average cost of granting a wish, and where do you get the money to finance this?
The average cost is $7,500 per wish, and we get our funding from individuals, from corporations donating and giving. We get grants, we get corporations that sponsor wishes, we do special events. We just had last evening one of our fundraisers called Wine and Wishes, which had 800 people, which was wonderful.
Wow.
We get external events where people do workplace giving, or some of our volunteers come up with ideas to do some fundraising for us.
So what are the best ways to support you guys, to support the work that you're doing?
Volunteers. We are a volunteer-driven organization. As I mentioned, we are so grateful for all our volunteers. We couldn't do.
What does a volunteer do?
Okay, you can be a wish granter, as I mentioned, and you would. We always travel in twos, and we're the ones. I'm a wish granter as well as staff, and we would call the home and visit the child. So that's wish granting.
So the first contact with the child is made by two people who go see the child first.
Well, we make it with the parents and set up the interview. Yes, that's wish granters, and then you learn of the wish of the child, and then you go back and deliver what we call the wish pack. We don't travel with the children at all, but we give everything necessary for the wish to the family. We have office volunteers who help us in the office. Again, 78 cents of every dollar we raise goes towards wish granting. So we are very, very, very grateful for all the support that our volunteers give us. We have Speakers Bureau, as Robert works and speaks on behalf of Make-A-Wish. We have special events who come and help us at our events. And there are virtual things that people can do. We have a program called Wish Story Writing, and our Wish Story Writing volunteers would interview the family on the telephone so we could write a nice story.
If someone knows a child that needs help or needs the foundation, what does that person do watching at home right now? How do I refer a child to you?
So a child can be referred by a parent or legal guardian, by someone in the medical community, as Denise is, or by the child themselves. They can call our office, they can fax the referral form in, or they can go to the website and learn how to do all this.
Okay.
And if I can just emphasize, this is one of my favorite parts, besides the wish granting piece, the administrative part, that phone call. It's so easy to make a referral. It's a one-page form, you send it in, and all of a sudden the phone call happens from Make-A-Wish back, let's say when I make the referrals, and everything happens so smoothly. There's no waiting for someone to get in touch. They're just an amazingly professional and pleasant organization to work with.
Well,
I feel very honored.
Thank you very much for being here. It's wonderful information. The last thing I need from you, though, is where do people get a hold of you if they want to volunteer, if they want to participate in some way or form?
And donate and volunteer.
Or donate, yes, please. Tell us where to find you.
Our website is www.metrony.wish.org, or telephone us at 516-944-6212.
Thank you for being on the program. It's really a pleasure having you here. You're doing wonderful work. And Robert, I am so glad you're here with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here and sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
And thank you for the opportunity.